What's going on, YouTube? This is the SG1 Sports YouTube channel, and today we're going to be looking at the power rankings for the Big 12 heading into week 3 of the college football season. And it's a tight race at the bottom for that number 9 and that number 10 spot, but we're going to go with the Kansas Jayhawks at number 10 in last place. They had a chance to maybe get up to number 9, but they blew it and they lost to Central Michigan. So yeah, Kansas is going to stay down here at the bottom at number 10. And it's just Kansas. I mean, it's not a whole lot to say. They just are not very good at football. I thought that they were going to be a little bit better on the defensive side of the ball, but they have a lot of points to Central Michigan. So it could be a rough year for them. Probably another winless year in the Big 12. If they do get a win, it'll probably be over this next team who has really been struggling, and it's the Baylor Bears. They come in at number 9. Another loss this week to Texas San Antonio, who is a pretty good team. They were pretty solid last year, you know, group of 5 team. Then they also had that loss to Liberty. So 2 losses there. They're 0-2. And it just couldn't be much worse than what it is right now at Baylor. We'll see if they can get back on track this week. It's going to be a big game against Duke. I think they've got a shot in that one. But they are big underdogs in the game. So they're number 9 on our power rankings. And moving on to number 8, a team that might have had a chance to move up if they could have pulled it out last week against Iowa. But Iowa State here at number 8. The offense is looking really good for this team. They really gave Iowa all they could handle last week. Game went into overtime. It looked like they were going to win it up by 10 points in the fourth quarter, but they could not get it done. So they come in at number 8. And if they had won that game, you might see the Cyclones a little bit higher, maybe up at 7 or even 6 on this list, but they just couldn't quite get it done. So now we move on to the number 7 team, a team that looked much better last week, but it was against San Jose State. The Texas Longhorns come in at number 7. I expected them to be much higher on this list this year, and maybe game 1 was just a fluke. Maybe Maryland's really good this year. Maybe they had an off day. I don't know, but they have a real chance to show what this team is all about this week against USC. And I don't necessarily mean they have to win the game, but just show that you can compete with the best teams in college football. That would be a big sign for this program moving forward. But for now, I'm keeping them down here at number 7 in our Big 12 power rankings. Up to number 6, we go to Texas Tech. They didn't play in week 2, but in week 1 they got a win. They'll have a tough test this weekend against Arizona State. And they are favored in this game, but I don't know. Arizona State's a tough team, so we'll see if Texas Tech can get that win. I almost moved Texas up to number 6, but I thought, you know, Texas Tech doesn't deserve to move down just because they didn't play. So for now, we're keeping them at number 6, and if they win, they may still stay ahead of Texas next week. We'll see what happens with those games. Up to number 5 now we go, and that's the West Virginia Mountaineers. Will Greer put up crazy numbers this past week. I know it was against a weaker opponent, but still, it was a big win for West Virginia. And they came close to winning that Virginia Tech game. And if they had won that one, I think there would be a different perception around this team. So I think West Virginia is looking good right now, especially on the offensive side of the ball, which is to be expected. So they're at number 5, and I think they have a chance maybe to get to that Big 12 championship. I think the top 5 all have a chance. And I'm not going to rule out Texas just yet. I need to see a little bit more out of them. But number 4, we got the Kansas State Wildcats. They haven't really played anybody, but they have looked very impressive in their first 2 games. We're going to find out a lot more about this team in what's probably one of the more underrated games of week 3. Kansas State goes on the road to face Vanderbilt. And that one should be a lot of fun. It should be a good game. So we'll see, you know, if Kansas State, see what they're all about. Vanderbilt has also been looking pretty good through 2 weeks. So I've got them at number 4. We're going to keep things going here with the number 3 team that got a huge win. And I consider moving them up to number 2. The TCU Horned Frogs. They dominated against Arkansas. The defense played really well for them. Offense still has some things to work out. Kenny Hill, though, had a pretty good game. And again, you go on the road and beat a team like Arkansas, that's fine. You don't have to play a perfect game. And they really dominated that game. Again, the final score of that one was 28-7. A couple of late touchdowns there, I think, kind of stretched it out. But still, TCU coming at number 3. They've got a better win than a number 2 team, but I just can't quite move them up ahead of them just yet. The number 2 team I have is Oklahoma State. They beat South Alabama on Friday night. It was a blowout, so you're looking at 2 games played. They blow out their opponents in both games. The offense really looks good. Still struggle a little bit to run the football, but through the air, they may be the best passing team in college football. They have just been lighting up the scoreboard. Mason Rudolph getting it done for them, a legitimate Heisman candidate at this point in the season. And of course, that means we all know who number 1 is, and I don't think there's any debate after their beatdown of Ohio State this past weekend. Oklahoma comes in at number 1, and they go back to being the clear favorite in the Big 12 after that win. They're going to have some tough competition with Oklahoma State and TCU and maybe some of these other teams. But for now, definitely this team is number 1 in our Big 12 power rankings. So there you go. Those are my rankings. Leave a comment down below with what you think it should be, Luck. And that is going to do it for this video. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports YouTube channel.